this is Allie Edwards, and in today's video I'm going to give you a walkthrough my completed 2022 December daily album. I used the Santa album this year in the 10x8 size. I loved it. I did little gold numbers for my 2020 spine there. It's definitely nice and thick and chunky, but not too bad for sitting on the shelf. Before I dive in here, I just want to say a big thank you to those of you who participated along with me this year, whether you watched the videos, you were creating your own album along the way. This is a beloved project for myself personally, and it's always so fun to see the community rally around it in such meaningful ways. All right, so I started my album off this year with one of the plastic envelopes in the inside cover, and those of you who participated in our prep day saw me put this together, which is a little book of my favorite childhood ornaments. Again, this was from prep day, and it has the prep day, which was a $5 purchase for an event. It's like I think we did 8 hours of content this time, and one of the pieces of content in there was a downloadable PSD file for using these and these as PNG files as well, if that was something you wanted to take to tell the story of. This is super meaningful to me. It goes along really well with the Pieces of Christmas Past project I did earlier this year as well. I loved how this turned out. You know, I've had these ornaments for the majority of my life, and so it's really fun to have them documented in a special little notebook. So that was the beginning of my album this year. From there, we go right into my intro page and my reason why. I started off with the large transparency, wrote out my reason why, typed it all up. It tucks right inside here. And my intention this year was to simply be present. So this page ended up being a shaker page. I think as I walk through here, I'm not going to talk about the details of everything because there's a video for every page in here. We'll just do a little bit of a flip through and I'll share some reflections. I really love how this page turned out, like throughout the month. Every time I came back to it, this one was always really fun. I love having the circle shaker page. I liked that it had some fun stuff on the inside. I liked doing a table of contents. That was brand new for me this year, and I really love how that turned out. It's such a fun way to list the stories that I told, right? I did 25 stories. I did one per day, and my approach this year was similar to what I've been doing in the last few years, which is not necessarily a story about the day. For me, it's simply that I'm telling one story each day. It could be from a couple days ago, it could be from, you know, yesterday, those sorts of things. So I love seeing it all listed out. I stamped all those titles. That was a fun way to do that. I will probably want to do something like this again next year, some sort of table of contents, because that was very enjoyable. Story number one started off with handwriting a story here, a letter to myself on top of vellum. Moving into a large stamped quote there, sentiment, and then a enlarged photo with stitching on top, which was one of the things that I really wanted to play around with. And then for the first story, talking about having our house, paying someone to decorate the outside of our house this year and put up the lights, and that was fun too. Story number three here is a little one about the flowers that I had blooming in the house, the amaryllis and the paper whites. That's something that I love to do each year. This was also a project that was set up, or a page that was set up in our product play workshop this year. Story four here was Sunday morning, made another little shaker. I gotta take this out because it's just fun to shake these. Made another little shaker on top of the half circle. Loved having the confetti that I had this year. That was really a fun confetti, and I got the fun confetti this year from My Belle Rose, which is an Etsy shop. So just a little Sunday morning, you know, beginning of December Sunday morning story. Here we go into story number five, which is counting the ways of the things that I'm loving this year. Some of you guys saw I did a story on Instagram where I had a leftover piece of this where the texture paste there was falling off, and it's not happening on this one yet, so I probably am going to add a transparency on top of there just to protect it a little bit more. It seems to be holding up okay in this space versus the one that I had out on my desk. So things that I was loving in early December. Story six was just a simple story about taking the girls shopping. They both needed some new shoes. They had some fun events this month that they needed that for. Story number, what is this, five, or this is seven. Yeah, see, that was six. Okay, so story number seven was about the mess the getting out mess, right? The beginning of Christmas mess, the beginning of December mess, which is a regular occurrence here in our house. These pages were built on a single sheet of vellum and then using the 4x4 cards there and a couple other journaling cards that I made during our prep day. Story number 8 over here, this is probably one of my favorites this year, I think, is a story about the girls, or Anna and a couple of her friends, in their 8th grade Christmas program, so their last program at their school this year before they move on to high school. So I loved just a fun page design too. I think playing with the circles for the 8 and then being able to have my journaling and photo inside. This was another page that was put together for our product play workshop this year, where we focused on 10 specific products from our collection. All right, then story 9 on the back is just a little story about Audrey and Anna, 2 girls here. They wanted me to take a couple pictures of them hugging, which was just so sweet. They're so fun. Very fun girls, so details about that. Story number 10, I wanted to do something that was simple. I wanted to have it right on top of a big sheet of pattern paper. So I've got one of these window cards here. Let's see if I can get this undone. Got a window card that then when you open it up, when I get to this point, when you open it up, it's got the tree. So our tree, the beginning decorating of our tree with a little photo of it in the dark there, and then I had journaling on the back. I really like how this one turned out too from a design standpoint. It's really cute. So that was story 10. Again, I really liked having the full page pattern paper. That was something that was a little bit different this year. I haven't always done that in the past. I would say in the past I've had more full page photos than full pages of pattern paper, but this was really speaking to me this year. Story 11 was about our book club gathering. We do a favorite things party, and so I used that background paper to hold different smaller photos that I had from that day, and then added journaling that is on top of a transparency there. Story 12 was a foundation page that I put together in product play also. This was a story about 12 things that I'm thankful for on the 12th day of December. So that was a nice way to just have something simple to document. Then I told the story about taking the girls to go and make wreaths together. This was the first time that we've done this at at a local nursery. This was a fun way to bring a bunch of photos together. I did circle photos that go inside of the page protector. I cut off the extra parts of the page protector so that it was custom to the pieces of the story that I wanted to include, right? Making it work for me and the story that I wanted to tell. I paired all of that with another photo on pattern paper from the Liz Tamanaha Paisley Press mini kit, and added in a little bit of journaling there. That was a really fun time doing that. Then I told the story of taking Betty, our dog, out to look at the lights. This was built on a layered template in Photoshop, so one that's already set up for you, and then you're able to just add your content on top. That photo, it's just so cute, it's such a fun thing. Then story 15 was about a little adventure, a little overnight adventure down to visit my parents on the coast. Simon was there too. So I wrote little bits about this experience and also added in pictures there, part of them on our drive down, part of them going to see lights out at one of the state parks, and then some information about, or parts of the story about Simon cooking with my parents, a few pictures on the beach. I really love how this one turned out. This was also on top of a transparency, one of the printed transparencies, and I cut off the far edge to make it fit for the story that I was wanting to tell. That all was paired then with this large photo of Simon and my mom dancing together, which will be a treasured photo for many years to come. All right, then we move into story 16, which was a story about me and our family going out to dinner to celebrate both Elliot and Audrey's birthday. I've got the 16 on here for story 16. It was actually Elliot's 16th birthday too. A photo of us all looking at the camera. We like to take these big group selfies, and then a photo of everybody outside together, which was I love this photo for myself. This is then paired with the large tag here. I did a little bit of journaling, just some brief journaling on this one about this particular story there. Then we come into story 17, and story 17 is about going with my friend Kim to get holly at her farm, a family farm, and I told the story, the journaling that I did here was a screenshot of what we had done together, her inviting me to go out there. It's holly on a tree, it's beautiful, it was amazing, it was really fun, and I loved having that in my house this year. Story 18 is our Would You Rather Christmas cards, and I did photos of all the kids and us adults on the back there. I just picked some fun different photos. These were also a part of our prep day download, so those turned out really cute. The Would You Rather, it's just really simple and fun way to include some other voices and incorporate something, you know, involve your family in the project too. Let's see, moving in on to story 19, I used the one of the paper die cuts here, the heart with the 1 and the 9 from the felt there. I did a lot of stitching this year just with the red felt. I essentially had that out on my, or not red felt, red embroidery floss. I had that out on my table and I used it anytime it felt like was a good time to use it. So multiple times in the album it pops up. I love having the pops of red. That was really what I loved about it the most, I think. I did add one of the die cut glitter words over here. Story in the back was done digitally. Chris and I had coffee with Simon and had a little bit of talking about future plans and those sorts of things, so I detailed a bit of the story there. Story 20 starts off with a really large shaker page using one of the die cut papers that we had available this year, and it ends up, look at, I mean, just seeing all of that right there just makes me so happy. And the story that I used to pair that with, or to supporting this story, is a really fun story about a group of friends where we went to a cover band night out just at a bar, and it was so fun. Anyway, and so I included on here text messages from my friends from the day after of just talking about how much we all enjoyed it. So I love how this one came together using some gold brads. Yeah, and then also having the repeating some of the photos, these group photos of all of us that are here. They're underneath the tags, but they're also on here. It's a kind of a fun people pattern, right? The people become the pattern on there. So that was story 20. Story 21 I did here with a full page photo of our tree during the daytime. We had a fake tree again this year. I think I bought it last year. I really love it. Lots of room for ornaments and to be able to see the ornaments. I talk about decorating the tree this year and how it's a little bit different from in the past. I paired one of the 6x8 transparencies with a tree die cut here, and then added the 21 along the edge. I cut off the holes that were punched into the tree and stitched it right on there. And then story 22 became right on the back where I talked about Christmas cards this year, and Aaron's picture of Aaron looking at our Christmas cards, and then I was able to add our Christmas card in there for story 22. And then the back of the Christmas card became the home for a photo of our stockings for story 23, which is on here. And for story 23, I just did some reflections on the season and how things were different than they have been in past years, and the reasons why those were. Most especially, it's just our kids simply getting older, and some of the traditions changing and the routines changing, and things that maybe we don't do that we used to do, and how we are looking at all of that. And then I added just some of these fun little embellishments on the top too, a star, plastic star, wood star, one of the Santas, and then a little 23 metal token there from Tim Holtz. For story 24 and 25, I've kind of combined them together here. This is a stocking page that I had put together also during our prep day this year, and it's pockets. And so this is the front of the stockings there, which these actually have, like, this is texture paste on top that is black. This is using a stencil, white stars on top of the pattern paper. I used another one of the chipboard circles there and made a little title here essentially with one of the transparencies that I cut up. And then inside here is our tags that tell the story of Christmas Eve and then Christmas Day. So I created tags that have photos on them. So it's got the story of the eve and the day here. Try to pull that out. Eve and the day. They have photos on the back of them from what we did on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So just a recap of that. I really liked using these pockets, or creating the stockings to have pockets for multiple photos from Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. There have been many years where I've just done one photo on Christmas Day, and it was fun to add in a few more there as well. Then I had two more stories that I added in. This was a photo from Christmas Eve that I wanted to include. It's got 4 of the 5 kids sitting on the couches. This is just very representative of what our life looks like right now when everyone is in the same space. And so I repeated again one of these felt pockets. Those are one of my favorite things this year. And then just talked a little bit about how this is what we look like right now, and then how we do Christmas, one of those 2-inch 2-inch circles there with the gold foil added on the top. And then to close out my project this year, I added in a story about Simon and I created a sign that we put over the fence to new neighbors that we have over there that live on a private drive. And so we made a Merry Christmas sign and sent them some nuts over the fence, and then they sent something back to us. And it was just a really fun, very merry way to experience our Christmas day too. So that is a look here at my 2022 project. Whenever I get to the end of these, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's done. It's, you know, it's a labor of love, but I really, I think that I really honed in kind of how I like to document the month of December, and it really flowed well for me this year. I didn't feel a lot of stress related to it. It just felt fun, and I was really excited to be participating and creating pages each day and have it be very true and representative of the life that we are living right now, right? We don't have little kids, so we don't have that same kind of story, but we have a lot of bigger kids. So this is where we are in our life right now. And one of the things that I always want to encourage everybody in the community is that you need to tell the story of how you are living, right? You may have little kids, you may be a grandparent, you may not have any kids in your orbit, and your story is still worth telling, and the way that you experience December is still worth documenting. As always, if you guys have any questions, you can let me know in the comments below. Other than that, I'm going to literally close the book on 2022 here, and we will see you again for more December Daily in 2023. We will launch our new product collection for December Daily probably in the end of August, beginning of September. It's been the beginning of September the last few years, and then we will begin the process of the path towards December like we have in previous years, with all kinds of fun ways to participate and inspiration to help you document your stories. If this is the only project that you do as a part of our community, I would love to invite you to check out other things that we do. We have a variety of subscriptions available, monthly subscriptions. We also have scrapbook kits. We have a one little word project. We will also be doing Week in the Life, which is 1 week of documenting the basics of your everyday life. It's not a month-long project, it's just a week-long project. And so if you'd like more information on that, you can find that at allieedwards.com. That generally happens in the late spring, early summer, and we will probably be on that schedule again this year. As always, thank you so much, and I hope to see you working on another project again soon.